So here we are finally allowed to tell you what the KTM Duke 390 in its 2020 avatar like to ride. Well, we're one of the few people who've ridden the motorcycle for almost 125 kilometers, which includes on the track as well as on the road. And we have a very solid impression of this motorcycle. Like you saw the earlier video in the walk around, I told you that I have been an owner of Gen 1 for the last 10 years, and I have had a very good amount of time with the Gen 2 as well, thanks to a very close friend of mine owning it. What has the Gen 3 told me while I was riding it? Well, for starters, this engine is now bigger. It's not the 373 anymore, it is a 399cc engine, making 46 bhp and 39 newton meters of torque. 30%, 70% of the torque is coming in at 5000 rpm. And so what that means is, there is a lot of torque in the mid-range, there is still a lot of torque in the top end, and the bottom end is also quite good enough. It isn't like the Gen 1 where under 3000 rpm it was very difficult to maintain it, and you always had to keep around 4000 rpm to keep moving, and then the power band started. Here it is quite linear like the Gen 2 throughout the rev range, but it's got a lot of feel that was missing in the Gen 2 from the Gen 1 in this Gen 3. The feel, the raw power feel that you get from this motorcycle, just like how you got in the Gen 1, is present to a very large extent. But at the same time, the linearness, the relentless pull that the Gen 2 had is also present in this bike. So it is best of the both worlds. KTM said they set out to do that. They've delivered that. This is an absolute perfect combination of Gen 1 and Gen 2, but without the drawbacks of the Gen 1 where it was crude below 4000 rpm. This isn't, and there are other aspects also which were not that great on the Gen 1, but they are completely fixed on the Gen 2, and the Gen 3 takes it even ahead. So talking about the engine, the fueling is smooth, but the engine, I can't call it very smooth because there are vibrations that start around from 6000 rpm all the way till the red line. You can feel it on the pegs easily, you can feel it on the handlebar, not much on the tank. So that's the reason why these vibrations will be variable, and it won't be a big of an hindrance. But the fueling, in the way the engine sounds, the intake note and the exhaust note is very similar to the Gen 1, and that makes it something amazing. I'm still riding my Gen 1 as much as I can, and this clearly reminded me of a heavily modified Gen 1 that has come here as the Gen 3 to excite the riders again, excite the riders in the way it did with the Gen 1. All of that is present, and I am just blown away on how this motorcycle rides. That feel from the Gen 1, the relentless pull from the Gen 2, the torque throughout the rev range that the Gen 2 had, it's all here, and that is what is making this motorcycle an absolute hood to ride. The KTM Duke 390 is back. It was missing in the Gen 2. It is back again with the Gen 3. There is absolutely no denying that aspect. Like I said, power is up, torque is up, capacity is up. So has the radiator fan. It has two fans on it, and the radiator has been curved. So we did not notice any heating while riding in Pune, even in hot, summer conditions. Of course, we didn't get stuck much in traffic, but then again, we didn't hear the fan aggressively coming on either. So that is a good sign to have. That is what the engine is all about. It has 4 riding modes that I've already told you about, and all of them work really well. With track mode, you do get launch control as well. So you just hold the clutch, pull full throttle, and it will decide the best revs for you. And when you pop the clutch, you will have very minimum lag and no wheelie to take you ahead and take out the best possible acceleration out of this motorcycle. So that is on offer as well. The gearbox, the absolute best KTM gearbox of all time is seen on this motorcycle. It is really slick, feels really good. It just is perfect, absolutely perfect, with the quick shifter, with the slipper clutch, with the light clutch that is on offer. The clutch and gearbox just feels so right that I was riding this motorcycle so hard, and for once I did not feel any jerkiness, any notchiness that was coming from the gearbox. So this is the best gearbox that you will ever find on a KTM. This is really good. When it comes to gearing, it isn't really tall, but it isn't very short like the old 200. It is somewhere in between now. So you can still call it on the taller side, but not quite tall that was seen on the earlier 390. And it picks up pace very quickly. Like I said, low end and mid range is really good. You will realize that it's doing high speeds when you see below, those expectations are being overthrown, because you feel like you're doing 80-90, you're doing 100, 105, 110. So you know that you're going fast, but you exactly don't know how fast you're going. So you've got that feel to tell you that with this new motor. At the same time, it is going to surpass your expectations. So be careful, be mindful about it. And this is not your ordinary motorcycle. The KTM is back again with the 390. It will try to scare you a bit. It will tell you what it's doing. You need to listen to the motorcycle. It is not as 100% tamed and smooth and linear as the Gen 2. So please listen to this motorcycle before you get into trouble. The brakes on this bike, absolutely brilliant at the front and at the back. The Gen 1 had no brakes. It still doesn't do. Half of the time you're relying on the engine braking. Here, brakes work really well. There is supermoto mode that works brilliantly. We've tested that. And the feel on the clutch, on the lever, sorry, for the brakes at the front and at the back are really good. So that is why high praises and full marks for KTM on that aspect. And in terms of handling, very agile, very stable. The suspension is absolutely beautiful. It's got enough compliance for our roads. It is still very, very stiff. The rear suspension is still at the softer setting. It isn't as soft as the Speed 400, of course, but it is still soft, because I pushed this motorcycle hard and I saw running wide a bit while taking corners. So that is only down to the fact that the rear suspension is soft. Even for lighter riders who are going to push it hard in the twisties, please up the suspension. The preload is available to 10. I would recommend keeping it around 3 to 4. For heavier riders, I would recommend 5 to 6. Rebound settings is also available for the rear suspension. So that means that rebound also will play a very crucial role in how you adjust the suspension to your needs, and that is also necessary to look at. Preload should do most of the job, but then again, if you want that absolute fine balance between ride quality and stability and comfort, you will have to sit down and calibrate the rebound setting as well. At the front, 5 clicks for compression and 5 clicks for rebound, and that just changes the game. It gives you a lot of leverage. You can do it on the go, and the front suspension for my weight definitely feels quite less. The stock setting is 3. I would recommend for any weight, just keep it to 5, because it is still compliant. It offers good feedback, and the stability just dramatically rises, so you can push the front end even more harder. But it's very agile, it's very nimble, it's very stable. The chassis is absolutely amazing. It continues to be a telepathic steering, but at the same time, the efforts are very minimum here. It is comfortable, so it isn't as razor sharp and communicative as the Gen 1, but in the sake of comfort and maturity, it's still there. But the feedback, of course, could have been higher, but then again, you're getting comfort as well. So I think it's a very ideal balance to have. Apart from that, I've told you about the handling, about the braking, about the engine, about the gearbox, about the clutch, and how the fueling is like, and how we've ridden it for almost 125 kilometers, and a very good impression of motorcycle on the road as well as on the track. On the track, we saw that like I said, it was running a bit wide with the softer suspension setup. The tires also felt quite good. They feel a little numb while you're really gunning for it, but then again, that is not going to happen more often. So I think these tires are good enough. They are H rated, and they should do the job quite well. They did impress us on the road and on the track with the way they behaved in terms of ride quality, in terms of stiffness and kind of grip we were getting. And on the track also, there was hardly anything to complain. We had only had a few laps on the bike before we could get comfortable. We had to give the bike back. So a proper track test will tell a different story altogether. Right now, I can tell you that they're good enough. They're above average, and this should be fine with most riders. If you really want some slick tires, Pirellis, Diablo Rossos will just change the game on this bike entirely. I can clearly assure you right now. You want to have maximum fun, swap these tires immediately, and then you will have a time of your life. But then again, I can't tell you how good the ride quality will be. So that is one thing I can tell you. What I can also tell you is my verdict. What do I think of this motorcycle now? Well, I think this is an absolute amazing machine that has come to us. The Gen 1 feel is back. It's got all the goodness of the Gen 2 without the numbness of the Gen 2, and it is still very comfortable. The seats are large. You can accommodate a lot of heavier riders. In the first gen, it's not suitable for me. With this, I can enjoy the comfort, enjoy the raw power, and a lot of tech is on offer as well. A lot of safety features are on offer as well. So everything just comes together really well at a price point of almost 3,70,000 rupees on road in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, just around under 4 lakhs in major cities, means that it has gotten expensive. Like I said in the beginning in my walk around video, I bought it this Gen 1 for 2,02,000 rupees. Now it costs almost 3 lakh, almost 4 lakh rupees on road. Is it worth the money? Well, it's got everything you could ask for. It is quite comfortable. It is still fun to ride. It's got the original feel, and with the kind of current inflation and kind of features that the 390 has, I think it is good value for money. I see myself swapping my old motorcycle for this, because it just feels the absolute right upgrade for me. Keeping that old feel, and using that great resale value that the old 390 has, and getting the Gen 3. But that is a decision I'm yet to take right now. You should just get this motorcycle if you're looking for a fun 400cc motorcycle. Of course, there's the Triumph Speed 400, you must be thinking about it, but it is nothing like this. It is nothing like this. It isn't as fun as the KTM at all. KTM Bajaj did hint us that when the KTM comes, it is going to be dramatically different, and it has turned out to be, and it is dramatically different from the Speed 400. So if you want something really fun to ride, and you don't want to compromise on features, the KTM is worth the money, that is for sure. If you still want something really calm and composing, and you like a no frills motorcycle, the Speed 400 is there for you. I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Follow us on social media and website for everyday updates. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, follow. Goodbye.